the ultimate retirement guide for school teachers, police officers, firefighters, or anybody that has what is called a defined benefit pension. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about what a defined benefit pension is compared to a defined contribution plan, and how pensions work, and the conversation that the Human Resources Department will have with you just prior to retiring, and how they will try to sell you the most expensive and inflexible life insurance policy you'll ever buy if you get duped into that. And I'm going to teach you what you can do better so that you have far more options. So get ready. I think you're going to gain insights into opportunities you have rather than buying into their survivor benefit pension. So I'm Doug Andrew. I've been a financial strategist and retirement planning specialist now for more than 5 decades, helping thousands of Americans optimize their assets, minimize taxes, and prepare for retirement so they will not outlive their money. So let's lay this out and make a few definitions at first, and then you're going to see some opportunities here. So what is a defined benefit pension? Well, it is a pension that gives you a defined amount of money, a defined benefit when you retire based on a formula. That formula is usually based on how many years of service you gave to the state teaching school or being a police officer or firefighter. You may have taught for several different states, but what happens is in most situations, they'll give you 2% for every year of service that you rendered. So let's simplify this. Let's say you taught school for 30 years for a particular state. 30 years times 2% equals 60% of what? 60% of the average of the last 5 years' paychecks that you earned or annual income. So let's say you averaged $100,000 a year of income the last 5 years you taught school. And so 60% of that would be $60,000. Your defined benefit pension would be $60,000 a year when you started to retire, which is $5,000 a month. Now, that's a no survivor benefit, $5,000 a month, meaning you'll start getting $5,000 a month, but if you died 1 month after retiring or died 30 years later, okay, when you die, it stops, okay? Now, before I talk about the other options that they'll try to sell you or convince you to take, let's talk about what a defined contribution plan is. Because a lot of employers wanted to get off the hook for managing pensions because they were not very good at doing that. And so they were on the hook for giving you that benefit. And so the defined contribution plan, the most common is the 401k. Now, the 401k was never designed to replace people's pension as the primary source. And that's why in 2017, January, the Wall Street Journal came out and it said in the headline, the original champions of the 401k lament the day they ever came up with that idea, because they didn't intend for it to be the primary retirement vehicle for Americans, to just let them try to manage their money, because they're not very good at it. Because in the Great Recession, many people with 401ks lost up to 40% twice in that decade, okay? And so that's why they call 401ks a financial flop, a rotten repository, a lousy idea, and what have you. Well, a defined contribution means you're defining how much you want to contribute to a 401k. Your employer might match 50 cents on the dollar or whatever, but you're defining the contribution. It's up to you how that money is invested. Your employer is not going to guarantee you any income, okay? And so they're off the hook. Now, let's go back to defined benefit. Now you know the difference. So if you have a defined benefit pension, this is likely the conversation that will take place just prior to you retiring. The Human Resources Department will likely call you in and ask you to bring your spouse if you have a partner, okay? And so let's say you're asked to bring your husband, and you were a school teacher, and they will say, okay, Mary, you gave 30 years of service to our state teaching school. Thank you for that. So 30 years times 2%, you'll get 60%. You were making $100,000 a year average. So that's $60,000. And so your pension will start out at $5,000 a month. Okay. Now, if you do the math, $5,000 a month is $60,000 a year. And the average life expectancy for a, 62 or 65 or 67-year-old, however old you are, 65-year-old, is, let's say, 20 years. So 20 years times 60,000, that's a $1.2 million asset. Do you understand that? Yeah. Don't you want to share that asset with your husband sitting here? And they put you on a little guilt trip. That's why they ask you to bring your spouse. Well, what are you going to say? Well, yeah, I suppose. Well, here's how you can do that. Instead of taking $5,000 a month, because if you died, it would stop. You can take a reduced benefit down to, let's say, $4,000 a month, and you'll get $4,000 a month. And then you'll get that the rest of your life. And if you die, then your husband will keep getting $4,000 a month the rest of his life. And they know the math and the life expectancies and what have you. Don't you want to take that option? Okay. And if you say yes, unbeknownst to you, you just bought the most expensive life insurance policy with no flexibility you'll ever buy. But they don't say it that way. What do I mean? It's very expensive. You gave up $1,000 a month to give your spouse the benefit, but you have to die first. Okay. And then it's only paid out for the number of years your spouse lives after that, which on the average is no more than 7 years. The amount of money needed to do that, $1,000 a month, is very expensive to provide that kind of a life insurance benefits. Okay. But here's what they don't maybe tell you. What if your husband dies first and you get remarried? You can't name your new spouse as the contingent beneficiary. There's only one beneficiary. You have to die first in order for them to get the survivor benefit. Your children are disinherited. You can't name them, okay? And so who would buy a life insurance policy like that, where you can't change the beneficiary if things change? And so that's what I would recommend you rethink. And so if you just simply ask for the no survivor benefit, the $5,000 a month, and you set aside that $1,000 a month because you were willing to get by on $4,000 a month, you take that $1,000 a month and you put it into a max funded index universal life insurance policy. And that'll accumulate money that you can access if you need money. Because you can't get money out of a defined benefit pension when you gave up and for a survivor benefit until you die, and you have to die to get money, okay? But they don't give you a death benefit. They just keep paying money to your spouse if you die first. But with IUL, you can access money anytime. But what if your spouse dies before you? Well, you still can leave that behind, that life insurance benefit, several $100,000 tax-free, to your next spouse or to your children or a church or a charity. Okay, you don't lose that asset. With a defined benefit pension, if you choose a survivor benefit, it's gone if you die first. Okay, it's gone if your spouse dies first. You can't rename a beneficiary and you disinherit your children. Okay, and so I recommend you take the no survivor benefit and take the differential and put it into an IUL. And that insurance policy will be liquid, available for you to access money when you need it. And it will blossom and transfer tax-free when you die, no matter who you name the beneficiary to be, and you can change the beneficiary as many times as you want. So that's what you need to understand when you are a school teacher, police officer, firefighter, or you have a defined benefit pension. If you want to learn more, I have some stories about this here in my book, The Laser Fund. And it's actually in the right brain side of the book. This is 2 books in one. And so this has been flying off of our warehouse shelves. And you can buy it on Amazon for between $20 up to $60. If you do, thank you. But I'll gift you a copy of this 300-page book for free. Simply go to laserfund.com or click on the link below. You contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling, and I'll cover the rest of that, and I'll pay for the book. And I'll fire out a hard copy to you via priority mail. And if you want to read the stories, flip it over to this. This is the right brain side that has 62 stories. There's one chapter out of 12 chapters that talks about this concept that I'm addressing in this video, okay? And it could be well worth your while to understand the options you have when you retire with a defined benefit pension. Now, if you're in there claiming your free book and you'd like to listen and learn or watch and learn, there's those formats available for your investment. You can even register for a free educational webinar about what is an IUL laser fund. No cost, no obligation. You can even schedule an appointment with an IUL specialist that no charge, okay, no obligation, where they can show you how a properly structured max funded IUL can work in your particular set of circumstances for strategies like this.